Hey guys, it's Remo and we're here at the project again, episode 8. Let me show you guys what happened. Last that we talked, we were getting ready of the foundation of the ADUs, and today is going to be all about the ADUs. We've done a lot of work, so come on in, let me show you what's happened. Since you guys last saw it, we actually had the trench open. There was pipes everywhere. Everything got backfilled. All inspections got passed. Our conduits are run right into the main panel. I don't even know if the main panel was being started, but the conduits themselves with wire is already ran. We also ran this box, which is low voltage box. So one of the things, this property being as large as it is, or as deep as it is, we didn't want wires draping from the front, now that we have above ground service, all the way to the back for media. So we ran conduits. So Spectrum or Frontier, whoever is the internet provider, will run their box here. There's 4 individual conduits that go to each of the properties. From that, it's going to end up being able to be moved right into the properties. So all that got done, and we're going to keep moving forward. Come on in, look at what we have here. Other than the Ring camera that we have, this ADU structure is fully erect. It is 924 feet. Last time you just saw the slab that was about to be poured, I believe, or we're waiting for inspection. We passed obviously inspection, we passed underground plumbing, and we passed the sheeting, which I'll explain. So as the structure gets built, one of the ways to create the integrity of the structure for seismic movement is to sheet it. Now this sheet gives it that seismic movement, or the ability to withstand that movement. So you could look here and you'll see the nail-in pattern, which is typically 6 inches from the corner, 8 to 10 inches from the center. In this case, it was 6 inches from the corner. So you'll see that all nailed all the way around. I'll tell you, what's crazy is the cost of nails when you have a lot of sheeting and a lot of these brackets. It was $900 just in the actual nails that go through the nail gun. So it tells you it's a lot of nails in here. Again, the trenches were closed. We brought some base because it was way too muddy. You can see the water line, that's up here, the sewer line, that's there. These forms will be removed soon. The guys have been at another job, so those will get removed. The shape of it, which is a door, the windows, you could see all that. This is just placed, this plywood, not so much for sheeting, but really to make it easy for the stucco when it goes on there, so the elevations are all the same. That's why you might see these kind of smaller pieces, and sometimes it's easier just to sheet everything because it makes it easier, but we either didn't have wood or some reason, or they were going to charge more. So now come in here, let me show you the layout of this unit here. All right, so we're inside. These are 2 one-bedroom each, and so 1 bedroom here, and on the other side of this wall is the other 1 bedroom. So you walk in, this is the living room, kind of cozy. You see all the electrical on that side coming in. This ends up being the living room. You have these higher outlets for the TV. In the living room, and for new construction, you need this exhaust fan, which most people think, well, why is there an exhaust fan in the living room? Well, one of the new requirements is that you need to be able to pull fresh air from the outside into the house. And so this will be there, and typically it's a high switch. I think we've identified it in the front house or the back house, but you see the outlet switch, or the switch would be all the way up here, which you see, why is there a switch there? Honestly, no one ever turns it on, but if you want to turn it on to get fresh air from the outside in, you can. The problem is these things are not, they're too small to pull a substantial amount of air, and if they get bigger, they get too loud. So we just really put it for the requirement. Now this unit is all electric, no gas being ran. Part of that is it was going to take 3 to 6 months for the gas company to draw the contract. It just takes forever. So we opted to go just full electric here. And so full electric means everything, the stove. So this is the stove line coming in. You can see that it's thick. I think it's what's called number 2 wire. Obviously all the countertops. We have a stacked washer and dryer. Here you could see that it's a thicker wire as well, a 10-3. So the layout of this is a stacked washer and dryer, countertop. You see the plumbing for the sink, more countertop, the stove, more countertop, and then the refrigerator on the corner. What else? And up here you'll see that this wall goes all the way to the roof. And the reason why is when you have two units next to each other, they have to be able to withstand a 1 hour fire rating. And you do that by making sure that wall goes all the way up. So if there's a fire that happens and gets through the attic, that it doesn't penetrate the attic and jump from one unit to the other. Now, older apartments or older units, you'll typically see the attic go all the way through, but now newer construction, you need this fire rating to go all the way up. So this drywall is actually thicker than the rest of the drywall, which is 5/8 drywall that allows it for that fire rating. The other thing is, since the electrical is really at the front of the structure for both units, you have the electrical that needs to make it to the other unit, right? And so you have these metal flex line that will allow the wire to pass through, and they get drywalled around, right? You can't just have wires that are being drywalled right over. So you have to put these conduits that go through that. So any wire that goes from this unit, because that's where the service line is, to the other unit has to have some sort of conduit to go all the way through. Let's see. Here's the bathroom. And so with the bathroom, you have this oversized fan. It's hard to see here because it's a mess. They dropped off all the piping, all the insulation lines for the water lines. And so they're going to resume this later today. So we'll probably pause and then bring you back in to see what the progress is. In here, you have the attic access right on top of here. So it's kind of the center point of the unit. Honestly, with the mini split system, is which we have, you're not going to really have anyone ever go in the attic. But it's there because it has to be there. And we need an outlet there, an outlet and a light typically. You know, since Kathy's right there, here's where the mini split unit's going to go. It's going to go roughly right here. So this will feed AC and heat into the unit here. In the bedrooms, we usually put just ceiling fans because unless we put a second register or second head of the AC, it's hard to cool the room. And so what ends up happening is we just put a ceiling fan. Since the house is going to be really well insulated, it's probably not going to get hot. You know, obviously heat is a little bit different. But now that she's there, you can see this is the line coming in for unit 1. This is the line, the wiring coming in for unit 2. And then all this wire needs to make it to the other side through that conduit. That's why there's 2 conduits there. All right. These walls are all anchored down. You kind of see where they tacked them. So these nails get shot with an air gun right into the ground, so it gives this more stability. In addition to that, the actual the wood, actually no, the ceiling joist, which is the beams that run to hold up the drywall, run from end all the way to end. So these things tend to be a lot more expensive because they're longer. So this technically is not a bearing wall. It could potentially be open, but you wouldn't open it because it would leave the space too open. You might see that more in a studio. Now let's come here into the 1 bedroom. The 1 bedroom unit is going to have a slider outside. This will all be obviously cleaned up and fixed, but this is the 1 bedroom unit with a pretty large closet, a 5-foot closet. You have the TV outlet that's, you know, at face eye level, which is 5 feet or so. The other thing that these newer construction units have are these tie downs. So you could see these tie downs every 36, 48 inches, but you also have these for the sheeting. These are the HDUs that we pointed out in the back unit. So these are the tie downs, and this anchor goes down even further into the footing. So you'll see these at the end of the shear wall. So you have one here as an anchor, and you have that one goes all the way. This shear wall is all one complete piece that goes there. In the front, those walls, the spacing is like 3 feet, 4 feet. This whole wall is sheeted. Yeah. Let's keep going. You see these blue lines, that's for the smoke detectors, so they're all hardwired. One of the things that's important that I always make sure we check is the fan has to be at least 3 feet or more further away from the smoke detector, because if you have the fan on and the smoke detector is too low, the smoke detector would never trigger because the fan will blow out the smoke. So this is the ground rod for the whole structure. So this rebar is tied into the rebar system for the foundation. And the reason why this is there is this creates a ground to the whole structure, which is really important. In addition to that, we also have the main panel grounded, but which is kind of an overkill, but this is also there. So these ground lines will be tied to this to give it an extra ground to the whole foundation rebar system. The other thing that we have is all the fascia boards are in. You have the shiplap that gives it that finished trim underneath. On the roof, you'll see the Simpson straps that are on the roof. I believe it's every 3 feet or 4 feet that's up there that creates that, that holds the house from, in a sense, pushing away from itself, right? So it keeps that in addition to all the other straps and things that are in there. In addition to the straps that are up there, the tie downs, each bay, Kathy, if you want to get this, have these called hurricane ties. So every bay for the ceiling joist to the roof rafters that's tied to the actual wall is tied by one of these hurricanes. So these are placed everywhere, all the way on all 4 walls on every single bay. And that keeps this wall attached to the roof rafters, which is another one expense, but also gives it more of that seismic strength. Let's see, same layout as here, so everything is easy and it's back to back, so you could see they're kind of split. One thing that's really important when it comes to electricity is, ultimately there'll be a drywall sheet that goes all the way up here and a drywall sheet that goes all the way up here. So sometimes the electricians, we got to make sure their lines are not coming in from there and crossing, or they're all stapled and nice and tight. So they're really good about that, but I always come back and just make sure that when the drywallers come and they put their drywall all the way up, there's nothing blocking it from that. So again, you can't really see the bathroom here because they have a bunch of equipment, but there will be eventually a bathroom here as well. You have an oversized bathroom fan like the other one, and that same exhaust fan in here as well. And then we have this. So I don't know if I mentioned in the beginning, this layout altogether is 460 square feet. And from the different ADUs that we put together, I think this is, in my opinion, the most optimal 1-bedroom layout that we've ever built. It's a 22 wide by 42 by 22. And it totals 926 square feet. And in my opinion, they're great. I would say maybe if there's individual storage, it's probably where it's lacking, but the goal would be to build it more than the 4-foot setback that's required. We build it, I think, 5.5 or 6 feet, so someone could put an exterior storage in the back and still be able to maintain. Now, the only way to access the rear, since these are 1-bedroom units, is through the slider. There'll be side fencing on both, but most of the time, people are just accessing it through the slider. Here's where the actual condenser will be. You can see the line set coming out. So the unit will be placed here. You have a rear clean out, you have a front clean out, which is nice because if you have any plumbing issues, it's pretty easy to fix. These are what are called the disconnects that would give power to the AC units that the electrician ran. You can see that they cut into the sheeting. So line set comes out here and I'll have a weather flashing that goes on it. The other thing that's out here is the exterior slash interior. It's exterior from the house, but it has a little door. This will be where the water heater, it'll be a tanked water heating pump that goes in here. And so you see the electrical line ran in here for that service. So it's nice because it's kind of away and can vent all the way out or discharge all the way out. And it's not in the house, but it's not also eating into the setbacks. A lot of times, if you put the water heater here, you don't have the clearance that you have from your setback. So it's either you do a tankless that's attached, but since we want all electric, the problem is they take so much more power than the water heating pump that takes less power. So for all the math to make sense from the electrical standpoint, we had to go with these tanked water pumps as opposed to the tankless electric that would allow us that space. The one thing I don't care as much for is now that this structure is here, and you'll see it when you're back, this becomes a very private unit, this unit here, because it kind of blocks the sunlight. And so someone might not like that as much, but it's, you know, when you try to maximize the space, you kind of get this. This unit has a lot of light. However, for someone that likes privacy, this is kind of ideal because no one's really going to be able to see you here. The other thing is we ran the actual wires into the actual structure. So this is the line that comes all the way from the main meter that ties in here. It ties into the other one. The media line that I mentioned earlier, it'll come in here. So when they run the internet, or the coax, they would feed it from that big panel, run it through underground conduit, pop through here, and from here it goes into the house. So you again don't have any wires running here as well. And then this will get cut off. This was the test clean out that's there. And I think that's it. So here we didn't, you know, there was still vegetation that had to be removed, and the tree that was here. So once the landscaper comes and gets all these trees, what we'll do is we'll run the low voltage, which is a coax cable, really where that red duct tape is, to be able to do something similar there. So at that point, all electrical and low voltage conduit would be from box all the way inside the house. And then the units inside stay the exact same. So we'll fast forward and let you guys check out a couple hours after what they do. The wiring got stapled and the panel will be outside. We got all the ground ran to the rod. Here's the actual living room area. All the water lines are also ran. So you could see this is the water line that'll be feeding the unit. It goes up and over and gets to the water heater that's in the back. All the plumbing got done. So now you see all the valves that will be, or the spigots that will be popped in for the kitchen sink. We have the washer and dryer. All the venting got done. You see the insulation on the actual pipes. And then all the outlets, the electrician's finished. You can kind of see it here. This is the fire blocking that goes between both of these. So the idea here is, like we mentioned earlier, that you're going to have drywall on this side, drywall on the other side. And so you don't want a fire to go through these boxes. So they put this clay that allows it for, that's fire rating. The bathroom also got vacated a couple days ago. You saw the material in here, but now you can kind of see it come together. Here's going to be the sink, the toilet on the bottom, which you see water there. The toilet actually still has water in the lines for the test, so they just haven't drained the water. And then the bathtub, all the piping is all done, which is really nice. And then I think in the video we mentioned the access, which is right there for each of the units. So they're really identical to one another. Here's the stove. And so the other thing that they did is anytime the wires come through these bays, you can see the weatherproofing. Now the insulation person, they'll also be putting a lot of insulation or the proofing between these membranes. Once you pierce a hole, like that one is still missing. So all that will still get done when the insulation gets done. Thank you guys for watching episode 8. Next episode, our hope is to have insulation in, probably even drywall passed, and you'll see the exterior wrapped. So next episode will probably be in a couple weeks. So we're going to give a little bit more time for everything to be finished. So by episode 10, you'll see the finished product. So really our last episode as a work in progress is going to be the next episode. And then the final episode will happen probably in a month from now. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let us know. Please subscribe. Reach out to us if you have any of those questions. We'll see you soon.